Hi everybody and welcome back. So in this lesson we're going to be looking at removing the hair strands that we see all over, and they can be a bit of a pain. For that we're going to use the patch tool. In some cases you could also use the spot healing brush tool, but you can sometimes run into some problems, and sometimes it works well. It sort of depends on the workflow, but as you can see it almost looks like a little scar if it's too fine, so it is a bit of mix and match for your needs. Anyway, take the patch tool and select the hair, and in this case we want to move it straight up so the shadows on the left side still match. And obviously here, little weird area there, looks good. And if you thought, go away, if you thought that what we did before was really just detail intensive, oh, you are in for a tough one. And a lot of these you're going to have to do them you know, sort of over several passes and see what works well, and a bit of experimentation every now and then. But again, you basically want to find the same area, an area that looks like the hair, where the hair is covering, but without the hair. So, which is obviously every now and then a little bit difficult. And always, for instance, when you're dealing with edges like that, it can be really hit and miss. Those can be really difficult to get right. That worked out okay, not perfect, but okay. And again, it does take some time, but it is really worth it in cleaning up the image and making sure that everything just looks really spotless for when we are done with it. So we can zoom out there and see how everything looks. It is a little bit messy there, but hopefully once we clean it up with the skin, that will also go away, and we'll also fix that a bit when we're doing the shadows and highlights. But that was just one side. I also want to go in on the other side here. And well, do the same thing here. So now, if you've ever wondered how they get so impeccable, perfect hair in commercials, or even particularly in advertising posters and things, now you know. In fact, I know people that will spend over 10 hours just retouching hair, going almost, you know, through every single little strand of hair, making sure everything is just perfect. So some people can really spend a lot of time on it. They would probably be absolutely appalled at what we're doing now, because it's not nearly as in-depth as what they do. But since the hair is not really the main focus here, I think this will have to do for this lesson. And as I said, you know, there are times where you'll have to accept that you'll have to go, you know, a couple of passes to get all the hair that you want, unless you want to select either far too big an area or far too difficult an area in one go. And you always want to keep in mind that make sure that everything fits, that you're not making anything worse. These tools do have a tendency to, if you don't sort of handle them with care, some of the results can sort of look like a scar in the skin. That, for instance, was very much not good. So as I said, it is sometimes a little bit of a hit and miss how well it turns out. And in some cases, you also have to accept that unless you're willing to spend a lot of time doing it, it's just not gonna be perfect. And you know, in some cases, you'll just have to deal with the fact that, you know, it's gonna be the way it is unless you're willing to spend, say, 2 hours just fixing the hair. For now, that area there is okay. Again, not exactly perfect, but for what we're doing now, sort of has to do. But we should also get rid of the worst hair over here. That is a bit easier because we just want to get it, you know, or with the blue. You could say, why aren't I just painting over with the blue? Well, that's because it's not an even blue. And you could also, as a fair question, I might say, ask, why am I even leaving it in? Because we're replacing the background later. Well, it's just for workflow reasons. But now you can see here on the edge, it doesn't look very nice. And that is actually where the clone stamp tool comes in handy. So hold down Alt, click on an area fairly close, and then with a soft brush, paint over, just for those bad problem areas. But if we do, in my experience is, if you do that over the entire thing, it ends up looking really overly clearly fake, which is not the look that we want. So last, we just want to clean up the hair down here a little bit. This is a bit more difficult because there's a lot more shades going on. So have to do a bit of finesse work, I say as I'm completely butchering the image. Obviously, we could go in and say, well, we want this entire line gone, but I think unless we're willing to spend a lot of time on it, the result isn't, the result isn't going to be very nice, because, you know, we can go up and keep going, but we're gonna lose textures really fast. I can just do a quick example here. And see, it's just not gonna, it's not gonna be worth it, and it's gonna look ugly and not very nice. So for this, I say, you know, leave it, unless you're willing to put in the time to work on just that. Anyway, we could also do, as I said, some people do go in, for instance, with the spot healing brush, and go in and remove little strands of hair that they find, you know, sort of sticks out. This is not what we're going to be spending our time on in this tutorial. As you can see, this is something that you can really spend a lot of time doing, and this is just now a quick example of how that would work. We are not going to be spending our time doing that, because as you can see here, you can end up using a lot of time on it. And last, we just want to fix this area up around the nose here, because if we zoom out, you can see the areas going down here next to your nose, or on her nose, I suppose. don't look very nice. So we're going to take the patch tool and select an area right about this and just go over here. It is surprisingly simple. You can see the texture doesn't quite match, but we'll fix that in a second. Do the same thing on the side here. As I said, the texture here is a little bit rough, so what we can do is select that, move it, you know, take some of the other areas so we sort of blur out the textures a little bit, merge them with some of the less harsh textures, so we even out the skin a little bit more. You can see, also have a little spot up here from the shadows that we can remove. And now if we zoom out, it looks a lot smoother straight down than it did before. We could also do a bit here on the side. We are going to muddle this a bit more in Liquify, but that gets the basic job done. But anyway, that's it for this lesson. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next lesson where we go into Liquify and start messing with her face. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next lesson.